Hey guys, this is Mara the Reading Hedgehog with my July 2016 book haul, and it's going to be a pretty long one, so I'm going to go ahead and just jump straight into it. In total, I think I counted 27 books. It's a lot of book shopping. But the first thing I'm going to show you actually is something I was sent for review, and I would have actually recorded this as an unboxing video, but I couldn't wait to set everything up to do that. So I went and opened it, and this was the highlight of July. So the publishers of the Jackaby series contacted me and asked me if I wanted to receive an advanced reader's copy, an ARC, of the third Jackaby book that is coming out August 23rd, called Ghostly Echoes. And of course I was like, absolutely, I love this series so much, I would love to. So they sent me a package and opened it, and I didn't get an advanced reader's copy. I got a finished copy of Ghostly Echoes by William Ritter, the third book in the Jackaby trilogy, which comes out August 23rd. Highlight of my day, highlight of my month. I was having a real bad day when I received this in the mail too, and I was so freaking happy. And yeah, you will get a review for it pretty soon. Yeah, so this was wonderful. I was not expecting a finished copy, so I was very excited. They didn't just send me that, though. They also sent me a paperback edition of Beastly Bones. This is the second book in the Jackaby series, which I have in hardcover, but I wasn't going to turn down a paperback, and I'm going to start collecting the other two in paperback as well, because you can't have too many Jackaby novels, in my opinion. So, thank you so much again for sending me these. I adore them, love them, so excited for the series to continue and for it to be released for everyone to read. So, out of the books I bought, the first pile we will get to, these are divided into piles, are the ones I got at Half Price Books Outlet. I went there one day, I don't remember why, and they were kind of having a sale, so I treated myself to a bunch of books, because that's what we do. So the first one I got is the second bind-up of the Relic Master series by Catherine Fisher. This contains the Hidden Coronet and the Margrave. I do not have the first bind-up of this series, but I've seen it at Powell's a few times, so I'm going to get it next time I'm there. And I went ahead and got this one because it was like $1 or 50 cents. And I adore Catherine Fisher. I loved her in Carceron duology. So yeah, I went ahead and got it, and looking forward to when I can delve into it. Next up, I got the second summer of the Sisterhood and Girls in Pants, the third summer of the Sisterhood. Books 2 and 3 in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants series. As you guys know, I don't generally do cannot speak today. Contemporary novels, but I promised a friend that I would read this series this summer in exchange for reading a series I picked out for her, because she swears I'll love this series. So I've been picking these up at Half Price Books whenever I go, because they're like $1 each, and I'm gonna speed read through the series. When I feel like doing a contemporary, I haven't felt like doing it lately. Next, I got Necropolis by Anthony Horowitz. This is the fourth book in his Gatekeepers series, which is a series I've been trying to get through for a while now, and have enjoyed it. Just, I stopped on this one when I stopped working at the library, and I haven't gotten library books since then. So I haven't been able to access this series, and it's not been on my priority buys list. But I found this one at Half Price Books and picked it up. Next, I got Beauty's Daughter by Carolyn Mayer. This is the story of Hermione and Helen of Troy. This follows Helen of Troy's daughter. I pretty much buy any Carolyn Mayer book I can find. She writes a lot of historical fiction novels, and I generally have enjoyed them. I've enjoyed them ever since I was a kid, and so yeah, I pick them up wherever I can find, and looking forward to reading this one. After that, I picked up Midnight Magic by Avi. This is historical fiction / mystery. I've adored Avi's historical fiction novels since I was a kid. He was one of the first authors I read when I graduated to do chapter books. And I read this a long time ago and really liked it, so looking forward to reading it again and adding it to my Avi collection. Next, I have The Far Side of Evil by Sylvia Louise Engdahl. This is the companion novel to the Enchantress of the Stars duology. I read this one a long time ago too, and I think it's kind of considered a classic. It's sci-fi slash kind of dystopian slash kind of an allegory on governments and things like that. And I've been wanting to reread this series for a very long time, and so yeah, I picked the second one up, and we'll hopefully stumble across the first one at some point. This is a really weird shape. Like, it's a long book, literally. After that, I picked up The Angel's Command by Brian Jacques. This is the second book in the Castaways of the Flying Dutchman series, another series I enjoyed a lot as a kid, and have really been wanting to reread, plus I'm collecting all Brian Jacques' books. And I know that his last name is pronounced Jakes, but I just can't bring myself to pronounce it that way, so sorry. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to picking up this series again. Revisiting memories. And then finally, the last book I got at Half Price Books was Spirit by J.P. Hitman. I don't know anything about this book. I just picked it up on a whim because it looked interesting. But I think it has to do something with the Salem witch trials, but then it takes place later in the Victorian era. I think following maybe some of the descendants. I don't remember, but it sounded interesting when I saw it, so I picked it up. So then, after that, I went to Barnes & Noble because I had some new releases I needed to buy. The top one being This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This is the first book in her Monsters of Verity, I think it is. Monsters of Verity duology, and you will be getting a review for this one soon because I read it in July, and yeah, I adore Victoria Schwab. I've been a fan of hers ever since her very first book, The Near Witch, was published. I bought that the day it came out because it sounded really good, and I adored it, and I'm really sad that it's out of print and not many people know about it because I think it's very underrated. It's a very good book. But ever since The Near Witch, I've been collecting all of her books, including the one she's written as V.E. Schwab, and I love them, and I won't say anything about this Savage Song right now because review and wrap-up time, but just know that I loved it. She's not disappointed me ever so far. After that, I picked up The Vanishing Throne by Elizabeth May. This is the second book in the Falconer series. It might be a trilogy, I'm not positive. This is Fae mythology, Victorian era, slightly steampunk, takes place in Scotland. I liked the first book, it was entertaining, so I went ahead and got the second one. Unfortunately, my friend Hazel said that it's pretty boring and disappointing and goes the route I was anticipating it to, but I'm still gonna read it because I want to. I bought it after all, so yeah. After that, I picked up The Shadow Cadets of Pennyroyal Academy by M.A. Larson. This is the second book in the Pennyroyal Academy series, which will appeal to anyone who loves The School for Good and Evil. It's a really good series. It feels like I've been waiting for this book for ages to come out, which I guess, yeah, it's been 2 years. I actually wasn't aware that this had been released until I was at Barnes & Noble browsing, and then I saw it, and it hadn't been on my list that day, but I added it because I need to read it before I forget what happened in the first book. After that, I picked up Someone Stop Ivy Pocket by Caleb Crisp. This is the second book in the Anyone But Ivy Pocket series. I love this series so much. It is hysterical, it's quirky, it's weird, it's fun, it is highly sarcastic, it is very dark, and a little bit reminiscent of something that Tim Burton would come up with. But it's amazing, and I really, really like it. I cannot wait to read the second one. And then I picked up Empire of Dust by Eleanor Herman. This is the second book in the Blood of Gods and Royals series, which I didn't know this was a sequel when I bought it. And then I found out that this is a sequel to A Legacy of Kings, which is also on my list to read, but I didn't realize that this was its sequel. So now I've got a very good excuse to go buy The Legacy of Kings, but I'm going to do that as soon as possible because this sounds amazing, and I don't remember what it was about, but it sounded good. So, in July, I made a discovery of a really, really awesome little used bookstore where I live. Recent-ish, I think it's been open for a couple of years, but I actually haven't been in it until recently. And this bookstore has a lot of really, really good mint condition hardcover YA books. I mean, the selection is amazing. So the last week of July, a friend and I went browsing, and I kind of turned it into a treat myself day because it was a bad week. So I kind of bought a lot of books while I was there. So the first books that I picked up there was Moss Flower and Matameo by Brian Jacques. This is chronologically the 3rd and 10th book in the Redwall series. I don't remember where they land publication-wise, but I catalog them chronologically, story-wise. I've been picking these up as I go so I can read this entire series someday, and I think I've got 5 of them now, maybe 4. So yeah, very, very excited about that. Then I picked up The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series. I finally own all of Rick Riordan's books. This was the last one that I did not have. I've got all of his current books, all of them, and this was like $9. It's almost perfect condition. I mean, it looks practically new. So very excited finally to have all of them. Very, very happy. Next, I bought Unholy by Neal Shusterman. This is the second book in the Unwind Dystology. This is a series that a lot of people have had talked about. It's been out for several years. It's really popular. And I finally decided to start buying them all so I can read it eventually. And yeah, so I bought the second one. Then I bought Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater, the first book in the Wolves of Mercy Falls trilogy/series. There is a 4th book that's like a companion novel. I got the 3rd and the 2nd one, and you know, now I can start reading the series. I've always been really hesitant to start this one because I've read Maggie's earlier works and I have not been impressed with them compared to, you know, like the Scorpio Races and the Raven cycle. So I'm a little hesitant to start this one because I'm like, what if I don't like it? What if it's like Lament? And I did not like Lament. But I'm gonna give it a try. You know, I'm buying these used, so they haven't been super expensive. And we'll give it a try because if anyone can make werewolves awesome, it is Maggie Stiefvater, so I'm willing to try. After that, I bought The Ability by M.M. Vaughan. This is the first book in the Ability series. Funny story, I bought the sequel when I was at the Strand in New York. Didn't realize that it was a sequel to something until I got home. And I was like, oh, well, this is no good. So I've been looking, not super avidly, but I've been looking for this one, and this bookstore had it, so I went and got it because now I can start the series, which is exciting. Then finally, I bought Barnaby Rudge by Charles Dickens. This is an Oxford Illustrated edition. Now I've got all of Charles Dickens's novels. Very, very happy about that. I love having complete series. But I'm kind of sad because this bookstore actually has all of his books in the Oxford Illustrated editions. I mean, all of them. And I've got the majority of his books I have are in those editions, but they're kind of worn out, and then a bunch of them don't, so none of them match, and I'm just like, I could have them all matching, and part of me is kind of tempted to sell the copies I have and then just go rebuy them, but at the same time, I do like the copies I have, so I probably won't. But yeah, I got Barnaby Rudge, and this completes my Charles Dickens collection. And then finally, I did buy manga. This bookstore not only has a great YA selection, it actually has a really nice manga selection too. And I didn't have a lot of time to browse the manga section because by the time I found it, we kind of had to leave because they were going to be closing soon. So I did a quick browse through, but I did find volume 14 of Karikano. And I've got the first 5, so this is totally out of order. But I buy these whenever I can find them. Because they're easy to find, but they're also hard at the same time. You want to snatch them up when you find them, especially when they're in good condition, and this one's in pretty good condition, so I snatched it up. And then I bought new ones at Barnes & Noble, because I can. So I bought volume 11 and volume 12 of Black Butler, and I've read them already and loved them, and yes, this is the next series that I'm really actively trying to collect them all. Excuse me. Yeah, so really excited to have more of these. Then I bought volume 5 of Pandora Hearts. It's trying to collect this one more so I can actually start it and binge it. Then I bought volume 15 of Noragami Stray God, which is the latest one, unless volume 16 has already been released, which it's possible it has, but yeah, all caught up on this series. Then I bought volumes 25 through 27 and volumes 28 through 30 of Skip Beat. These are the bind-ups. I got one more bind-up to buy before I'm caught up and have to wait for the next one to be released, so I'm trying to wait to buy the next one so I, don't have to wait as long, because I'm not good at waiting when it comes to certain things. Then I got the first bind-up of Hanakimi, which contains volume 1 through 3. This was recommended to me by the same friend who recommended Skip Beat, and I have been lamenting. It's like, I'm almost caught up with Skip Beat, and I'm not going to have anything kind of fun and lighthearted to read in between all the action ones and like mysteries and stuff I read, and so she was like, you should try Hanakimi, so I picked this up. In general, my manga tastes lean towards the more, like Black Butler or like Attack on Titan, or Magi, the more action-orientated ones. If it takes place during a historical setting, even better. But every once in a while, I enjoy the ridiculous romantic comedies, and she recommends me very good ones. I mean, she recommended Skip Beat, and I adore that series. So I picked up Hanakimi. And also on that same note, I picked up the first bind-up of Maid-sama, so this contains volume 1 and 2. Also recommended to her, and I have read it, and you'll hear more about it in my wrap-up. So those are all the books that I got in July. Like I said, it was a really big haul, and let me know if you know anything about these books or have questions about them, and I will see you with my July reading wrap-up. Bye!